Hey everybody, and welcome back to this week's episode of Flick News. Izola here with FlickDirect, and I just have a very brief update on some things that have happened in movie and television news. So grab your popcorn, sit back, relax, and let's get this started. So I'm going to try to keep this one pretty brief this time just because I just did a 4K UHD release of Roofman. So if you want to go check that out and see what my thoughts are about it, it'll be connected to this one at the end. Or you can just go and look it up. You know, it's on our list of to watch. And I have some thoughts about that one. It was fun, but you'll just have to see exactly what I thought about it when you watch the video. Anyway, let me break down what we have right now for movies, television, just to kind of give you an update. Some things to watch, maybe binge. You know, some might be a little bit of a repeat, but again, things are a little slow right now, but then we also have a lot of television shows that are renewing. I did discuss a bunch of those last week, so I don't want to really go into a lot of those again. So we'll just do a little itty bitty update and I'll send you on your way. To start things off, we're going to the theater, and once again, James Cameron's Avatar Fire and Ash is the king of the world. I know. In the fifth straight week in a row, which is redundant, but I digress. Number one, they got the number one spot again, and it's just ridiculous with how well this movie is doing. This brings it to domestically, just domestic only, because we've already said it went over the billion. Like it's already hit records, you know, globally, but domestically, 368 million. It's amazing. It's just crazy how well that movie's done and how many times people that I know have seen it. They've just really enjoyed them. But I'm not saying I'm not a fan of the movie, so don't come at me, don't leave nasty comments, but ever since I watched the first one and it reminded me exactly of Fern Gully, you know, I feel like I just know what's going to keep happening. It's just like literally verbatim exact story. And then I was reminded of that because someone did a TikTok on it. So it just, you know, it sits with me. So I guess you could say we have a live action Fern Gully. Kind of. No, pretty much. It's literally a live action. Anyway, I'm going to get off this rant. Back to the theaters. It does have some competition now. And that's because 28 years later, the Bones Temple opened this past Friday and hit the number 2 spot. Now, this is not to be confused with the one that came out in June. This is the second, sequel. Yeah, we'll call it a sequel because, you know, it's the one that comes after the 28 years later. So now we have another one to watch. Yes, so exciting. And that made a solid 13 million. So good on that. I'm super excited about that one. I will definitely be watching that one soon. And then, of course, Disney's Zootopia 2 is still showing incredible numbers from the box office. I think it's now officially passing 390 million domestically. And then, of course, if you felt this sudden urge to go back to Middle Earth, it was the 25th anniversary of the Fellowship of the Ring. It was re-released back into the theaters and, no joke, made 4 million over the holiday weekend. So technically, yes, this was a holiday weekend. Obviously, Monday, MLK. So what do people do when they have time off? They go to the movies. And I'm so glad that Fellowship was actually, you know, one of those in there because, I love that movie. I own it. I've watched it so many times. I should have gone and watched it in the theaters. I haven't checked to see if it's still there, but if it is, I should probably go and see it. But I did go and see the extended version when it was released in the theaters, and needless to say, I didn't move much. My butt cheeks started to hurt. Turning to your living room, the streaming slate was packed this week. So much stuff came out. I did speak about a couple of things, but obviously just reminders, kind of give a heads up of how they've been doing, stuff like that. And the biggest news was HBO finally and officially took us back to Westeros, and we had the premiere of Game of Thrones, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I'm very excited about this one. There are a lot of characters that I'm really looking forward to seeing. A bit younger, maybe a little more naive. just, you know, it's going to be jam-packed with craziness, violence, blood, fire, brimstone. There's gonna be a lot happening. So be prepared on that. But if you've seen Game of Thrones and you survived Red Wedding, you'll be fine. It'll be fine. It can't be any worse, you know. Or it could. I mean, let's not try to sugarcoat things. They're gonna just emotionally. It's yeah. And then I had also mentioned John Bernthal, Tessa Thompson, His and Hers is now streaming on Netflix. So you have that to watch. And we all love John Bernthal. Tessa Thompson's amazing. So people have been enjoying it. So I will definitely give it a watch. I sometimes like to wait for the first episode to come out. And look, even if I don't like the first couple of episodes, I really do try to keep watching it because it's one of those things like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It took a little bit. Or even WandaVision. Like at first, the first episode, you're like, where are they going with this? They're back in time. I mean, I understand she's gone through it mentally, but what are we doing with this? And then you find out what, third episode or something. And I know a lot of people tuned out on that one. I was like, no, just hold on. It's gonna shift. You're gonna be surprised. And what happened? Lo and behold, just went into chaos. And that's like one of my favorite shows. I think they really did a great job on WandaVision. Oh, and if you do have Apple TV, the fantastic Idris Elba returns to the streaming scene with Hijack Season 2. It has premiered, so definitely go check that out. I'm a huge Idris Elba fan. Love him. But anyway, Hijack Season 2, Apple TV. Okay, and then I did mention last week, Night Manager Season 2. That is back, finally. Very long time. Prime TV. And then Tell Me Lies Season 3 on Hulu. I have not watched Tell Me Lies, but I saw the trailer and I was like, dude, this is creepy. I may need to watch this, but I don't know if it's really one of those shows that I'll watch. But if you have seen it, leave a comment below letting me know if I should watch it. I'm just curious. Do I waste my time? Maybe I'll just put it on while I'm working because, I mean, why not? I'm an analyst. I can code and make reports and watch a show at the same time, especially if you don't need a lot of focus. If I need to really pay attention, that will go on at a later time. And if you're looking for something to watch tonight, we've got Edgar Wright's, tongue-tied today, The Running Man with Glenn Powell. I discussed this a while back, that this was originally a movie that came out in the 80s with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it was loosely based on the book. This one is definitely taking more from the true Running Man. Not a true story. I mean, like the actual book versus what they did with the Schwarzenegger movie. So it's going to be really different if you think about it, because again, liberties were taken back in the 80s, but they did that a lot. So who knows? I still have not seen this, but I plan on watching it. And I like Glenn Powell. I think he's funny. I also need to watch Chad Powers. Still haven't watched that yet. People think it's hilarious. Although I thought it was funny with Eli Manning. Holy cow. Like, it was on either NFL or HBO. It was probably HBO Max. I don't remember. But I just remember seeing him dress up and going to a combine. And I was like, what the hell is going on? Yes, I do enjoy those things. I watch Hard Knocks. I like seeing behind the scenes of football with the football players and things like that. I think that it's definitely interesting. You kind of root for the underdogs, especially when they're trying to be on the team. And, you know, you have a little heartbreak there. But again, Glenn Powell does a great job. Anyway, back to The Running Man. That is now moved to digital platforms for VOD rental. So you can rent it, or you can wait a little longer until it's free, you know, because you're already paying for a streaming service. And finally, we got some first real looks at some new trailers for 2026 of some upcoming movies. And the first one that I watched was The Bride. Have you guys watched this? It is this crazy version of The Bride of Frankenstein. And just so you know, Mary Shelley did not write about the Bride of Frankenstein. That was an add-on. So you're getting this perspective of almost kind of universal monsters, Frankenstein, but he's not green. It's Christian Bale. He does have staples in his head. And then the bride, she's dark ink spot. Like, I'm going to call it a death spot. Like, anyway, just there's a lot going on. They're calling it a horror comedy, and I would definitely agree with that based on the trailers. I'm really looking forward to this movie just because I think it's just going to be fun and dark, and it's right up my alley. We also have coming up a survival thriller called The Bluff, and then a sci-fi sequel, Greenland 2, Migration. So there's a lot coming up. And then, of course, we have a lot of television shows that have renewed, lots of things to catch up on. And of course, I will bring you anything new that I hear. January is almost over, which means we have February, and then March is here. WonderCon. We'll have some interviews from there. And then it's just all the prep for CinemaCon, which I think is right after, maybe just before. I can't remember. I'll get you the dates for that. But Nathan and Allie will be out there. Whoo! And then Comic-Con. And you know how crazy that is. So we'll be doing live updates from a bunch of those. So stay tuned. We've got lots of information for you guys. And with that, this concludes this week's episode of Flick News. Please be sure to like and subscribe to all of our channels so you never miss out on any entertainment news. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!